Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are so excited to do our first story playbook webinar with you all today. I see lots of folks coming in. I have the chat open, so I'm going to be ready to answer any questions you have in the chat. But first, I'd love to hear where you're all calling from. Let me know specifically like what organization and maybe a little bit about your mission. That way, Danielle and I can kind of get an idea of the impact that we're having here in the room today. So I always love to hear about that. I myself am calling from Rochester, New York. So it's a sunny day at the moment, but I've heard that it's supposed to get quite cold later. So I'm prepared to have my heat turned on later. It's supposed to be maybe a low of like 32 or something tonight. So
Wow, that's
I know it's
dropping
gonna get
early.
cold. It's gonna get cold.
Yeah, I'm sure the pups will love that.
Yeah, it's like the old days when Halloween would come around, I'd always have to wear a winter coat, so it's reminding me of that.
Well, I
Um,
do have my MemoryFox flannel on today because 'tis the season.
it
Even
is
though
the
I am
season,
in
yes.
San Diego, California, where it is typically always 70 degrees and sunny, it did sprinkle this morning, which caused us to lose power and the internet dropped. We don't know how to really handle weather here.
That's so funny because obviously you come from like Buffalo, which is,
Yes.
famously known for having kind of the worst weather in the North Country, right? So that's
Yeah.
funny. Okay, we
Buffalo
have
roots for sure.
Bridget in the chat. She's from the
Oh,
Halifax and Region Military Family Resource Center in Nova Scotia. Wow.
oh,
Okay,
hey,
well then,
Bridget.
hey Bridget. Yeah, everybody else. Oh, we got some more people coming in. Definitely let us know what organization you're representing. We have Adrian in England. Wow, England. Okay. Looking forward to this
Awesome.
session. And yeah, go ahead and connect with Adrian on LinkedIn. Drop their LinkedIn there. Well, I am always a fan of starting promptly, so I think let's hop right in. What do you think, Danielle?
I'm ready. Let's go.
All right, so today, thank you all for registering. Today we are going to share with you our newest resource. We have been working really hard on kind of pulling together these playbooks, which will show 12 months of stories that you can collect specifically. This one specifically is for youth development organizations. So, if you are maybe a Boys and Girls Club, a YMCA, if you do an after-school program, a summer program, this is going to be your cheat sheet for the 12 months of stories that you can collect and share all year long. So, super excited to share this with you today. First, I will, of course, introduce myself. My name is Carly Euler. I'm the marketing director here at MemoryFox. You might know me from some of my other webinars where I usually talk about the ethical storytelling report because I did organize and create the 2023, 2024, and I'm working on 2025 right now. I also have 9 years of working in the nonprofit space. Before that, I did specialize in communications, peer-to-peer campaigns, sponsorships, and special events. So probably like many of you, I had maybe one or two titles over all those years, but I did a lot of different things. And some of the really great places I always love to shout out that I've either worked at or volunteered for include the Breast Cancer Coalition, the CODA Support Foundation, the Wiley Network, Kenya Lacrosse Association, and the BOMA Project. And I'll kick it over to Danielle to introduce herself now.
Hi, Danielle over here. I'm recognizing some familiar faces in the chat, so good to see some of you guys again. I am actually our founder's sister, so I am part of the original team that started MemoryFox from our humble beginnings over in Buffalo, New York. I have the pleasure of meeting with nonprofits every single day. It is absolutely my favorite part of this job is that I get to meet with it truly inspiring folks to learn more about their stories and their mission, and we get to talk about their storytelling goals. So I feel very uniquely positioned to always connect with new people to learn about your goals to see how we can potentially help meet them. So that's a little bit about me. And I'm also just the president and founder of a sports club here in San Diego. I also volunteer at San Diego Pride and some other local youth-based sports teams here in San Diego, but I founded the sports club here a couple of years ago and it's grown tenfold since then. So we are a nonprofit as well.
I love that. Yeah, Danielle and I both have a really deep sports background. We love youth sports. I know I personally have worked as a camp counselor before, so like this today is super exciting because these are stories that we, could have been a part of or that we could have actually collected ourselves. So a lot of really good stuff to share with you today. In fact, let me go over the agenda. So, first, I'm going to go over a quick overview of why storytelling is even important for everyone here in the room. If you are already storytelling, give me a thumbs up in the chat because we love to see that our current storytellers, that are already doing a great job. But yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about why it's so important. Then we're going to share that 12-month story collection playbook with you. And then we're going to do a little bit about MemoryFox, of course, and then we're going to answer all your questions, share some resources, and we have some really exciting special offers for you. So let's go ahead and dig right in. Why is storytelling so important? Well, probably the thing that's most important to all of us in our roles in development and communications, definitely when it comes to marketing at a nonprofit, is that you will raise more funds. So there was a study that was done by Classy. They actually found that fundraising campaigns that incorporate video receive 114% more funding than campaigns that don't. So that's not a little bit, right? That's not 10% or 25%, it's 114%. So that's the content people are wanting to consume, and it's what's inspiring people to give. Stories are also more memorable. So this might feel obvious to us, right? We often remember people because of stories that we've learned, that we've experienced with them, and things that we have done throughout our lives with them. But of course, the Stanford Graduate School of Business, they actually have replicated this study many times, but they found that stories are actually remembered up to 22 times more than facts alone. So again, just something that is really great for people like your prospective donors as well as your recurring donors to remind themselves of why they give and why your mission is important to them. And finally, storytelling at this point, visual storytelling, really is what people want to consume. So, according to Sprout Social, they found that 62% of social media users said that they've become more interested in a product or a brand after seeing it in a short form video. So, that spans all brands, right? That's not just nonprofits. We're not just talking about donor behavior. We're just talking about people behavior here. 62% of social media users more likely to become interested in something after seeing it in a short form video. So that is why we are so excited to share with you our 12-month story collection playbook. And I want to say, before we kind of give away all the secrets, we didn't come up with this ourselves. We built this based on real examples from great nonprofits that we work with. So our current storytellers, we kind of found some that fall into this youth development organization category. And when we look kind of overall at the spectrum of all the stories that they've collected, they have to date collected almost 5,000 videos, photos, and written testimonials from more than 500 individual storytellers. So we're not just talking about one staff member that is doing all the storytelling at their organization. We're talking about a lot of individuals sharing their important perspectives with you all. Now, if you want to get the playbook in a physical form, you are able to get it as a PDF. This would be the link to do so right here. If you want to scan the QR code, you can fill out the form to grab that playbook now, or of course you can get it later or in our follow-up email. But really the playbook is, again, going to be those real examples of youth-focused organizations and how they use storytelling, as well as monthly campaign ideas, which we're going to go over today. So if we're going to take a look at the snapshot here of every single month, kind of side by side, this is what your whole year is going to look like. So you'll see that there are different perspectives here. There are different types of stories, and there's different outcomes associated with those stories. But we're going to show you each one individually and dig into each one today. So to kind of set you up for success as we are on our learning journey today, first I want to familiarize you with some definitions that you're going to see on the next slide. So there's a section that's going to say who to send this to. What we mean by that is once you have your story collection campaign created, who is the intended audience or who is the intended storyteller? Who are you looking to get the video, photo, or the written testimonial from? Then we're going to look at campaign themes. So this is kind of the whole guiding idea, maybe the focus behind this specific campaign. And you'll see that some of them have seasonal tie-ins, some of them have specific campaign messages that are important to youth organizations, and kind of explain maybe the best type of story submission. So that's the theme. And then similarly, we have campaign types. So this would be the category of the campaign, which kind of ends up indicating how often you can share it or how broadly you can share it. So we find that we right now have three categories that we're working within. Number one would be an evergreen campaign, which is a campaign that you can keep to 1 month or you actually can use throughout the entire year. It would be appropriate to collect stories all year long. Second would be a sector-wide campaign. So this might is a sort of campaign that is tied to something that is relevant to all nonprofits. So something that every nonprofit can consider implementing at their nonprofit in terms of their communications. And third would be something unique. So we have a lot of campaigns here today to share with you that are completely unique. They're specific for youth development organizations like you. And then finally, every single slide is going to also share the prompts. This is so important. This is actually maybe the most important part of your story collection campaign because when you ask great questions, that's how you get great answers from your audience. So when you are asking your storytellers really targeted, thoughtful questions, that's how you're going to get really authentic responses, but also responses that you can really use, right? Because sometimes if you ask something a little too open-ended, you might not get some content that's actually usable. So we want to make sure that when we are asking our storytellers to submit to us, we are not wasting their time and we're making sure that we are getting a great response that we can actually use. If you end up having any questions about these definitions, drop those in the chat. We will be checking that and answering it live for you. Okay, but without further ado, let's hop right into January. So, our January campaign for youth development organizations, we're naming this one Intentions and Resolutions, which in looking ahead to the whole year. So, the people that you want to get this story from would be your staff members, your board members, and your volunteers. So, kind of those internal stakeholders. This campaign theme, maybe not surprisingly, is that every new year comes with a fresh start. Kind of the objectives of this campaign would be that you can identify your concrete goals for the year from all these perspectives. You can also put words to the work your team is setting out to accomplish. So really putting it down on paper and saying, I'm making a commitment to this year. And then you can give a glimpse into the future and invite your community to join you on that journey, right? These are the things that we're going to accomplish this year. Here's how you can get involved. So this type of campaign is actually considered a sector-wide one. We think every nonprofit would benefit from running this January campaign. But some prompts that would be really good for you to ask your storytellers include, what is your primary goal for our organization this year? If we only accomplish one thing this year, what should it be? And what's the biggest impact you think our work will have this year? So of course you can edit those and make those even more specific for your particular nonprofit, but really kind of getting down to your primary goal, your one thing, your biggest impact. That's what's going to get those great responses and really get those intentions and resolutions set up for you. Oh, and thank you, Angelique. Angelique said great prompts. Okay, good. We're off to a good start. I love it.
Yeah, and Carly, what I love about those too is that if you do like an all company meeting or there's all times where everyone's getting together to talk about the year ahead, it's a great time to make space for those kinds of prompts.
You're so right. That's a good point. Like you probably are having these conversations internally anyway. So why not just record some videos of you saying the same things, right? And then getting them out there so your donors, so your volunteers, so everybody can see what your big focuses are this year. All right,
Awesome.
I'll kick it over to you for
Yeah.
January.
I'm so glad I get February, why I mentor. This is a really special one, especially if you're an organization that has mentors that work with the youth. It's a great time to celebrate the heart of mentorship by spotlighting them and looking and reflecting about their motivations, about why they mentor, and really giving a voice to those people that are a part of that. So highlighting the impact of the membership, which really just shows the heart behind the work. And ideally, this helps inspire other people to get involved and other mentors because they hear it directly from the people that are doing it. It also honors the mentors, takes a moment to really humanize your mission and show like who they are and honor the people that are making time to work directly with the youth, and then strengthen the case for why your organization is vital to your community. I mean, ultimately, each campaign is going to be unique to you guys. So every campaign will be uniquely designed to your program. But some of the prompts that we have listed here that I think are really special to, just specifically for this campaign. What does being a mentor mean to you? Oh, I love that one. What does being a mentor mean to you? Gives them an opportunity to actually take time to talk about why they decided to do it, and what it means to them. And I think that will elicit really special responses. Can you share a moment when you felt like your mentorship made a difference? That's a really easy one because I think when you give someone a very specific prompt to think about, just a very specific like day in the life moment, it's a lot easier to jog someone's memory when you give them something specific to think about. What would you tell a friend about the value of being a mentor? I love advice questions where instead of having to think about something internally about them, it allows them to think about what would I tell someone else and how can I help someone else, which can be easier. And then share your favorite piece of advice or words of wisdom with the youth in our program. It's an opportunity for them to speak more generally from what they've learned as being a mentor to everybody. And again, it's that same sort of sentiment to like putting a reflection back on someone else versus just themselves. And I just think this whole prompt, this whole campaign really, displays the human connection behind all of it. And just making time to do this stuff. I know a lot of times I hear in meeting with nonprofits that, oh, they're so busy and we're already asking them for their time. But when you make this part of the process of what is sort of not necessarily expected, because you don't want to say like this is the only that your most important thing, but explaining to them this is so important because this is the only way we're going to get more mentors and show the community why we should continue supporting this program is if you can also make time to share these things with us. And so if you can put something like this as part of your part of your processes on how you work with your mentors and give them a space to share, it'll really elicit some great responses.
I love this one too. Big fan of mentorship. And of course, if you maybe don't have mentors, quote unquote, at your organization, maybe it's coaches, maybe it's teachers, maybe it's camp counselors, maybe anyone kind of in a mentorship position, this can easily be morphed to fit your mission.
And I'm sure Mentor Vermont can attest to things like that as well.
Alumni who have gone through programs can also be mentors. Yes, that's a good point. We are
So
going to talk more
true.
about alumni later, though, but really good point there. All right, let's look to March. So our March campaign is entitled Tomorrow Starts With Us. You're going to send this campaign to your youth program participants, so the youth that are actually having a great time at your programs, as well as teachers and again, mentors. So, kind of this campaign theme. The idea here is that you're going to center youth voices to highlight what matters most to them. So it's what are their passions? What are their concerns? What are their hopes for the future? When you do that, the objectives that you're going to do or kind of accomplish are to celebrate youth as their own visionaries and their own advocates and as leaders in the community, which I know so many of you probably have really great visions for the future for the youth that you're working with, and they should believe that themselves, and hopefully they can share those stories themselves as well. And really, that it kind of just is furthered by saying that you're going to create that space for those young people to go ahead and speak for themselves, be heard, and really take action. So this campaign is actually, we're going to consider this evergreen because you can really actually ask these questions all year long. They are appropriate to ask all year long while all your programs are happening, whether they start and stop at different times of the year. Some great prompts that you can ask your questions would be, what's one thing in the world you'd like to see change and why? What are you most passionate about right now? How do you think young people can make a difference today? And when you think about the future, what do you hope for? And you know what? I hear my dogs barking. I'm going to let Danielle go ahead and get to April, and I'll be right back.
Yeah, take us to April. The dogs are excited. They're just really excited about April, so have to hype it up. Okay, April is our next one. So celebrating our community champion. So who we're going to send this to is staff members, board members, and program participants. So these are just anyone that is a part of your community that may be willing to take a moment to celebrate your volunteers. So the campaign theme is Celebrating Volunteer Appreciation Week, which is April 19th to the 25th. So here is where we're going to share appreciation for these incredible individuals, the people that take a step up and volunteer and give time to your organization. So it's really simple. And I love this one because it is actually a very easy ask where you're simply asking folks to share thank you and gratitude, sharing a memory or a moment that left an impression. So just making it really simple on people saying, hey, we just simply want to thank and celebrate our community champions. So whoever that is for you, if you guys don't have volunteers, it can be something else. It can be someone else that you want to thank, but it's just time to give gratitude for the people that make your mission happen. So this is a sector-wide campaign, of course, and some really awesome prompts that we recommend is there a volunteer who made a difference in your life or work? Tell us how they helped and why you're grateful. What would you like to say to the volunteers who support your programs and events? How have volunteers helped your organization or program go further? And I think these prompts, again, they're very tailored to invoke either some emotion or sometimes a little bit of vulnerability. But I think it's wonderful to just give space for people to share what that has meant to them, to see people step up for the organization. And I specifically love is there a volunteer who made a difference in your life or work? Because I think just giving someone time to think about a specific person that resonated with them, you're not only, giving them the space to highlight someone else, but then the person that gets recognized gets some spotlight, right? And we're actually taking time to highlight those people as well. So yeah, it's just some great prompts that will help celebrate your community champions.
All right, let's move right on to May. Of course, May often reminds us of graduation time. And of course, this May, we can always cheers to our class of 2026. So some people that you'd want to send this campaign to, that would be your teachers, parents, mentors, coaches, staff members, anybody that's going to have, that's working with youth that will be graduating either out of a program or out of school or, high school, college, anything along those lines. And really kind of the campaign theme here is that graduation, of course, is a massive milestone for the students, but it's also a big milestone for families, mentors, and really the greater community, right? So this is a celebration of your community as a whole and the accomplishments that the students are able to make through graduation. So, kind of some objectives here would be to gather messages of encouragement, celebration, and pride, as well as to create a powerful tribute to hard work, resilience, and bright futures. This campaign type is unique to youth development organizations. Like I said, that could be graduating from school, from high school, from college, or maybe even just from a specific program at your nonprofit. So, some prompts that would, oh, you know what? Looks like maybe the prompts are still the volunteer prompts on here, but that's okay. We can send the rest of the prompts in the playbook. Looks like I didn't get that one updated.
All good. I can drop them in the chat as
Yes.
well.
Danielle dropped those ones in the chat, and then we can chat about those. All
Just
right.
gotta.
Cheers to our graduates.
Okay, so we've got yeah, and I'll drop this in the chat so everyone can see it.
Thank you. What message of encouragement would you like to share with our graduates? Ah, that's a really good one. Yes, you can start with a very simple congrats, class of 2026. Love that. What is one piece of advice or inspiration you'd like to give to this graduating class? Again, with the advice prompt, we love that. And what is one hope or wish you have for these grads as they move on to the next chapter of their lives? So, yeah, really great way to celebrate the program that they're graduating from, and kind of looking towards the future of the big opportunities on the horizon.
Awesome. Okay, this is a great lead into June, my birthday month. Any Geminis in the house, put it in the chat. Um, scholarship stories. So, these are specifically for scholarship recipients. And I gotta say, this is one of our most popular and successful types of campaigns that we see run because we know that, the youth tend to be pretty good with their phones and happier to get um, on the camera and honestly just show gratitude for the scholarships that they're receiving. So just making a little bit of space for them to share their gratitude can be super impactful in a lot of different ways. So showcase what scholarship opportunities truly mean for students, how scholarships help to pursue education dreams and community impact. Celebrate the recipient's achievements and highlight the life-changing role of your organization, the donors who make scholarships possible. And I think it's something we constantly hear that people want to have more stories for, as they want to share with their donors and the people that give to their organization. They want to share and say, this is what your money did. This is what you were able to help us accomplish. And there's no better way to show that other than giving someone a video of a scholarship recipient talking about it. So making a campaign that's really specific and unique to your organization, getting them to talk about and share, which is something that they and we have learned is that they really want to do. They want to show gratitude and give back in that way and give back in the way of a story. So creating campaigns for this in June is a great time to do it. So some of the prompts that we've seen that are really successful are, what does receiving the scholarship mean to you personally or for your future? What future goals, dreams, or opportunities will the scholarship help you pursue? Who or what inspired you to apply for the scholarship? And what message of thanks would you like to share with the people who made the scholarship possible? And again, just empowering student-led stories is so important. So it's just a really good opportunity to capture what that is like. Obviously, we'll be able to give the students a lot of information about where the stories are going to be shared so they can feel comfortable with that along the way. But yeah, it just shows all the different ways that you can honor students and honor the people that made it possible.
All right, looking to July, this campaign is called Dream Play Create. So, the people who will be submitting stories to this campaign would be your youth program participants as well as your parents or your guardians. The really exciting campaign theme here is to spotlight the energy and the excitement of summer. Summer, most people's favorite season, right? What this is going to kind of do is it's going to share youth reflections of what these experiences mean to them. It's also going to remind your supporters of why access to summer programming is so essential because probably a lot of your supporters, we're adults. We don't get to enjoy summer in the same way, or don't get to enjoy summer programs in the same way that kids often do. So let's remind our supporters why access to this program is so essential. This campaign type is going to be unique to youth development organizations. And some of the great prompts that you can ask include, what's your favorite part of your summer program? Maybe it's the sports, the arts, other activities. What's one new skill or thing you learned this summer? That's a really important one. Another one would be, if you could create your summer experience or describe your summer experience in one word, what would it be? Often trying to nail it down into one word can be really hard, and of course that will elicit more of a response, but it's nice to kind of challenge people to think of one word to describe something. And then, of course, you can ask your parents and guardians, how has your child grown this summer through participating in summer enrichment programs? What changes have you gotten to see? What are kind of the biggest things that you're noticing about the children that are being involved in these programs? I think that just the idea of dream, play, and create really sparks a lot of excitement just for me, even just reading it, but just thinking about all the things I got to experience as a kid. And then when I was a camp counselor, all the great things that we got to do with the children. I can definitely see a lot of answers to these prompts.
Um, I think we've seen some really, really fun ones in that category. Particularly thinking about some summer camps that we've seen use MemoryFox. But yeah, those are always really fun. So August, we have back to school. So who we're sending this to? Students, teachers, parents, guardians, and volunteers. So the campaign theme here is just to showcase the collective impact of early education and back to school programs. So here, what we're going to do is we're just going to demonstrate the importance of academic preparedness, gather stories from all those involved. So students who receive supplies, teachers who saw the difference, caregivers who felt supported, and volunteers who helped make it all happen. And a lot of this, for this specific campaign, there are some real tangible things that we could be asking folks to like take pictures of and share. So it's going to elicit a lot of really easy and simple things that people can do to really showcase what this back to school vibe is all about. So these are going to be, of course, unique campaigns to each of your organizations and your missions. So the prompts that we would suggest here are for students specifically. So if you're engaging the students to share, how does having new school supplies make you feel about starting the school year? I don't know about you, Carly, but I remember when I went back to school shopping and it was a whole to-do.
Oh
We
yeah.
had um, the very specific binders and pencils that I really wanted. Trolls were really big back in the day, so I needed that troll pencil. But just giving the students an opportunity to share in their own words what they're most excited about. Teachers, what difference have you seen in students who come to school with the supplies they need to succeed? So again, this one, just having teachers just, showing and talking about it from their perspective, they see it firsthand. Parents and guardians, what did this program mean to your household during the back to school season? And then volunteers. So what is one moment that stood out to you about this year's back to school season? So as you can see here, there's a lot of different angles to tell these stories. You can think of a perspective and a prompt that is specific to every type of person that is involved here, whether it be families or the students. They're all ways to just give everybody space to share their own perspective. And a lot of times too, by letting the storyteller speak for themselves, you also avoid stereotypes and you're basically allowing them to tell their impact in their own words, which can apply to any campaign.
Yeah, I love that this one really has, like you were saying, multiple perspectives, but all for the common goal, right? This is really,
Right.
really fun one where you can get a ton of different content that would be relevant for a lot of different things, especially for recruiting people to come into your programs, to use your programs, to volunteer for your programs. Really good idea on this back to school one. All right, let's look to September. So, oh, we talked a little bit about alumni earlier, but this campaign is specific to alumni voices, and we're calling it The Impact Lives On. So you're going to send this campaign to everyone that has graduated from your program, right? All those program alumni. And really the theme is just that. We're going to gather stories from alumni. And what that's going to do is it's going to uplift reflections on how the program shaped them and how those lessons, and how the lessons that they learned and how they continue to influence their journey in life, right? Over time, what are things that still stick with them? Again, we're going to celebrate the long-term impact of your programs, which your donors love to hear about. And we're going to inspire today's participants, your today's supporters, and your partners that you're currently working with proof that these programs do create lasting change, right? So this is super important. We're going to take stories from alumni to inspire people that are currently doing the work, participating in the work, and donating to you to continue those programs. That is super, super important. This campaign type would be considered evergreen, so you actually can use this all year long. You can collect stories all year long, whenever is most appropriate with your cycle of when alumni are maybe ready and willing to give their story. And some prompts that would make sense for this story collection campaign would be, what was the best part of being part of your program when they were younger? What lessons, values, or skills did you gain that still guide you today? Where are you now, and how did this program influence your path? People love a good then and now story. And what advice would you give to someone who's starting this program today? So someone that's about to enroll in this program or start getting into this activity, what advice would you give to them? I think that these stories are really impactful. And I do also think that alumni many times are looking for creative ways to give back to nonprofits that they have been a part of. And of course, you could try to make them convert to donors at some point, but I do think that sometimes we can actually ask them for their story, which would be an even more powerful way for them to give back as well as reflect on their own experiences.
Yeah, I love this one. I think alumni too is like, it does, obviously not everyone calls it alumni, but alumni can mean so many different
Yeah,
things where
yeah,
someone's just grown. So
definitely.
super relevant. Okay, October. So building futures together. So who we're going to send this one to is corporate partners and donors. So this is a big one because, we want to continue to engage these folks. They're really important and central to maybe our funding or our operating. And so we want to engage them and get their perspective. So the campaign theme would be celebrate your community of corporate partners and donors. So highlighting why they believe in your mission, showcase the impact that you make together, and show the collective power of partnership in creating a brighter future for young people. So just making time and space for this specific community can be super helpful. And just like it said, encouraging donors to share why they support youth empowerment versus like centering it around themselves. It gives them the space to really talk about why they're involved and why they partner and how that resonates with their corporation or why they donate. And the campaign type would be unique, so specific to your organization. And then the prompts that we're going to want to recommend here are, what does supporting the youth of tomorrow through our mission mean to you or your team? Share a moment, a story, or experience from our partnership that has inspired you or made you proud. How do you feel our collaboration has made a difference for you, your organization, or for the young people with whom we work? And lastly, what's the biggest impact our work will have in 10 years? And I love that one because it's a future reflection question, but ultimately just kind of talking about the shared purpose and the collective impact. Sometimes we teeter on this edge of like saviorism sometimes where it's like, I'm the corporation that's going to come in and say this gives them the space to just talk about the real human work and why they care and like how it's aligned with their mission and what their corporation stands for. So sometimes I feel like because we think, oh, we're already asking them for this sponsorship or this and this, it feels like a burden, but really it is just it's a way that we can make space for them to talk about why this partnership matters to them and why they continue to do it. And then we can highlight some of our other stories alongside that really packages why they should continue supporting your organization. So I
Yeah,
think this
you
is a
make
great
such a
one.
good point because I know, like, just from my experiences, that the corporate partnerships are often the longest relationships you have when you work at a nonprofit, right? Like, staff turnover, people come and go, but really those corporate partners that are really aligned with your mission often are there for many years. So, bringing them into the storytelling with you and letting them be a part of your mission and truly a part of your community is so important. All right, let's get to November. Okay, so November, of course, is got to be about gratitude, right? We're thinking about Thanksgiving. Everyone's thinking about gratitude in their personal lives. So, when we're thinking about specifically story collection, we're going to talk about thanks and giving and gratitude for our entire community. So, this campaign is appropriate to send to your entire community. That's your donors, your board members, your volunteers, your supporters, your alumni, your program participants, everybody is going to be invited to participate in this campaign. And yeah, the theme, not surprisingly, of course, is it's just all about gratitude. We're going to look at it from all angles. Really, kind of the big overall theme here is just to share a moment of gratitude, right? This is sector wide, so we would consider this something that any nonprofit would benefit from collecting stories about. And prompts that really would work well would be, what's something you're grateful for this year because of your connection to our mission? Who is someone in our community you'd like to thank and why? And how has given giving your time, talent, or resources changed your perspective on the work we do and the impact we make? This last one is a really exceptional prompt because there are a lot of things that you might misconceptions about maybe your community, maybe about what your mission does, or about what your programs are actually accomplishing. And once people can really be a part of your community and they can understand it better, they have a perspective on how their perspective has changed when it comes to your work. So super, super important. Those are really exceptional stories.
Yeah, and as we're getting towards the end of the year here, it's like this is the time to reflect and give thanks. So people are sort of in the spirit of giving. So this is a great time to start putting that out there and giving people a space to give their thanks and gratitude. I know that I'm in the spirit of giving a lot more when I'm overfed with like Christmas cookies and turkey and all the fun things that come along with the holidays. So that brings us to December, our last month of the year here. So of course we're going to tie it all back together. So in the beginning we did what we're looking forward to, and then this is our year in review. So we will be reflecting back. So we'll send this to staff members, board members, volunteers, just re-engaging with those folks that are part of the mission every day, all year long. And, thinking about the campaign theme here, as the year ends, reflect and celebrate by sharing your proudest moments, favorite memories, and biggest wins in a collective album of impact. So what I think is really special about this is that the reflection of the year gone by is also a great just employee activity, just a way to get people to think about slow down, because you get caught up in the grind of those everyday mission things, but then at the end of the year make time to just actually stop and reflect. It's such a great way to look at how far you've come. So we would do a sector-wide campaign here, and then the prompts we have here are: what is the best thing our community accomplished this year? What one moment from this year that stands out to you most? Um, of all the accomplishments we made this year, what is one thing you are most proud of? And what did you observe as the biggest impact of our programs, events, work had this year? So again, just a lot of reflection prompts and ways to get people talking about the year gone by. And it's a great time to take those videos and those pictures and those stories and put them all in one project. And then we can share them with the team. We can share them with our community. We can share all this wonderful work that we've done because we're tying a bow on it at the end.
Yeah, and I love these questions because we're talking about one thing and then we're all
Right.
talking about it from multiple perspectives. So, if you're saying out of all of my accomplishments, what is one thing that I'm most proud of this year? It's probably going to be different than what Danielle's most proud of this year. So, seeing those stories back to back is really going to give a whole, like, well-rounded look at your mission and the accomplishments that you had overall and what people are personally proud
Absolutely.
of. So, I really love that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that was our 12 months. We went through the
Wow.
whole playbook with you all. You have all of the cheat sheets now. Let's see what else we can help you out with. So if you have not downloaded the playbook, we actually have this in a PDF form, so you can, look back and reference it later. And you can go ahead and download that now by scanning the QR code. Oh, and Danielle dropped that in the chat for you all as well, so you can go ahead and get it there. And then, we want to help you really put this playbook into action. So I'm going to pass it over to Danielle to tell you a little bit about how MemoryFox can help you do that.
Yeah, thanks, Carly. And I think having that playbook as a precursor to this is so helpful, because we have all these wonderful ideas that were honestly generated from our own customers and seeing how folks use our tool in action. And our amazing customer success team was so helpful in helping put this together from what they've learned. And so that's all the what, and this is the how. So we at MemoryFox can so easily help you execute on these things via our platform here. And so this gives you a snapshot of how our subscriptions work. And in a moment here, I'll talk a little bit more about how we price subscriptions and all that stuff. But from a high level here, what we have is collect, organize, and share. So MemoryFox subscriptions are 12 months long. And on the left side, what you'll see here is the storyteller side of the journey. So these are the story collection campaigns that you can design alongside those playbooks that you just saw. So the way MemoryFox works is that we have a very simple form on the back end that you can fill out that will automatically generate a link and a QR code that you can very simply send out to all those ideal storytellers that we talked about today. The campaigns are completely custom branded to your organization. So whether you're sending them internally or externally, they will be custom branded to you. You can customize all of the storyteller prompts any way that you need. So of course, you're welcome to use our ideas, but you can always shape them based on what works best for you. And you are able to collect consent that is very specific to the consent for that storyteller and for your organization. And then in each story collection campaign, you have the ability to collect a video, a photo, a written testimonial, or they can upload content that may be relevant to that prompt as well. What's really wonderful about the storyteller side of the journey is that all of that stuff automatically tags and organizes to your story bank, which is that center thing that you'll see in the middle here. So this is the back end of MemoryFox. It is where all of your content gets automatically stored and organized for you by how you've collected it. One of the things that we hear most are, I am needing to post a Giving Tuesday post, or I need a social media post, and I can't find a picture or video. Well, this allows you to very simply search by the name of a campaign, the question, the prompt that you asked, the user that uploaded. All of that stuff automatically tags and organizes everything for you by how you've captured it. So you don't have to spend additional time organizing it. It all gets organized automatically, and then you can search by all of those tags. It's a filter down system. So you'll be able to very easily view and download any submission. All of our videos do come equipped with our automated transcriptions. So all of that stuff is stored and organized for you in one place. You can download reports that show you how they're performing. So all kinds of really essential tools that allow you to continue to build this beautiful story bank. And then from a sharing perspective, I will say that my favorite way that people share is our Canva integration. Our Canva integration makes it so simple and seamless to pull up any template that's relative to where you'd like to share your content. And you can really easily drag and drop any individual piece of content collected, because that will be all organized for you directly in your Canva account. And you simply search by MemoryFox in the App Store. And we also have some other really cool ways to share, like our story pages that are unique landing pages that you can build with your collected stories. I would love the opportunity to connect with any of you to do a little bit of a deeper dive into how our platform works. We can do a custom demo and talk really specifically about your storytelling plan and how you could use our tool. And I love sharing this highlight because I think it's really helpful for us to talk about all these things and all these ideas of how you can use MemoryFox. But we really have the most wonderful storytellers that are a part of our storyteller community. So I just wanted to highlight Ashley over I Would Rather Be Reading. I would rather be reading. And she just shared this testimonial that I wanted to share with you guys because I think it's most hopeful when it comes directly from them. So we've never done this before, and I don't think we would have thought to do this before MemoryFox. It just makes it easy to capture what we need and to capture in a time conservative way. We actually get to show event attendees the kids we work with. So it's important for people to actually meet our kids. And I'm going to drop in the actual success story in the chat here so you guys can take a look on your own time. But this is a really wonderful example of how one of our youth-based organizations uses MemoryFox. So you can go ahead and take a look at that success story anytime. So now I'm just going to touch a little bit about how the subscriptions work. So we have a couple different options here, and I'm going to start with MemoryFox Flame. If you're a small nonprofit and you guys are under 1.5 million a year in annual revenue, we have an option for you. And so this is a smaller price tier and a smaller entry point to MemoryFox, where you can either pay $99 a month or I'm sorry, $165 a month or $99 annually. Which does give you a little bit of savings if you can pay upfront for the year. But it does come with some limitations. And I'll drop this in the chat as well here so you can see what that option is. But ultimately, it is a more limited option that gives you a couple campaigns to start with. So you can build 3 campaigns and it comes with a limited amount of storage, but it's a really great place to start if you're just getting started on your storyteller journey and maybe budget is an issue. And then our next tier here that I want to talk about is our premium subscription. So this is our base level subscription that MemoryFox that does include pretty much everything that we talked about today. So what this does is includes unlimited storage, unlimited campaigns, admin seats. And I think one of the best parts about this subscription level is that it comes with our customer success team. They're the ones who helped build that playbook. So you can see how valuable it is to have someone to collaborate with to build out your specific storytelling plan. So we would love to partner with your organization. For those folks in Canada, $9.90 is just the annual revenue.
I
So
was
it
just
just
gonna say, I think
takes
Bridget's in Canada.
Yes, she is. And I do remember chatting with her. So, what this means is that we do take a look at the annual revenue of your organization and the size of your nonprofit. And we will offer specific pricing that is based on that size in an effort to make it affordable to every size nonprofit. So, if you would like to see what your pricing would be for this, we will have a space here where you can scan the QR code, schedule a demo, or just reach out to Carly and I directly, and we will send you your pricing. And we'll go over that on a demo. But ultimately, it is a custom pricing based on the size of your nonprofit that does give you unlimited storage, campaigns, seats, dedicated customer support, and you will be able to leave with a full impact storytelling plan for the year. And what's nice is that as you can see here today, we went through January through December, all the different months and what you can do. And I will say that I also don't want this to be overwhelming for you to feel like you have to do all of these. Maybe it was only some that resonated with you, but we just want to show you that we have learned so much from our nonprofit community about how folks use MemoryFox. So we want to help you guys be successful. So we'll create a custom plan for you. And then we check in to see how it's going 3, 6, and 9 months. What's going on? How did they perform? How can we help you do better? So I think that's something that's really unique to how MemoryFox works and how we work with our nonprofits is that we provide support along the way. So on the next screen here, oh, I'm so excited about this. So we have a promotion that is specific for our youth development organizations. Chatted with Maria last week, and we had a really great conversation talking a bit more about the types of folks that attend her trauma-informed storytelling certification program. And so many of them are youth-based organizations because what this basically means is that we just want to make sure that we are doing right by our community. So if you are collecting youth stories, there is a proper way to do that, an ethical way to do that, and that's what she touches on in this course. So although at MemoryFox we have this playbook and we make it very easy, there's very nuanced things at every organization. They're really specific to what is the right way to collect these stories, and that's what Maria does, and her course is amazing. It fills up every single time. So we are giving away 5 seats for free for her November cohort for anyone who signs up for a MemoryFox subscription before that cohort starts, which is basically November 3rd. So through October, but really anybody who signs up before November 3rd, we will be able to offer you a seat here. That's almost like a $600 course, I believe. So I know a lot of people get grants for this kind of stuff, and it's a very popular course. You learn so much, and I actually I can drop that course in the chat too, so you can kind of see a little bit more about Maria. If you don't know who she is, definitely take a look at her resources. She provides a lot of really valuable stuff. But what we will do alongside this is that we will help you shape your first couple campaigns. Yes, Maria's classes are amazing. So, we will help you shape your first couple campaigns alongside the best practices that she suggests right in this class. So if this has been on your radar that you want to get up to speed with ethical storytelling by your community, this is a great time to start both your storytelling journey with us and Maria Bryan's cohort in November. So
Yeah,
you
I
can
love that
scan this.
I was just gonna
Sorry,
say,
go
I love
ahead,
that we're
Carly.
packaging it together because I know I learn so much every time I hear from her, and our customers that have gone through this program We have sent customers to her before. They come back with the best ideas, the best campaigns, and of course, the most ethical, trauma-informed way to implement the campaigns at their organization. So they really do go hand in hand. So if you want to book a time with us to learn more about your specific MemoryFox membership and get you into this
Yeah.
program, this is such a huge thing to do together. I'm so excited.
Yeah, and so I think the next steps here, like Carly said, if you're interested in this, schedule a demo with me. Let's take a look at what your pricing would be like for your organization, because this is not specifically for Flame, although we are going to do a discount for Flame folks as well. But this one is specific to people that start a premium subscription with us, because your calendar year, we encourage you having unlimited campaigns to be able to, use this all year long. So this specifically is designed for those that want to sign up for that premium subscription. So if you want to set up a demo with me, let's talk about it. Let's come up with a plan. Let's see what the pricing is, and let's see if this will be a good fit for you guys. For anybody that does not want to do this course, maybe you just want to start MemoryFox on your own. We could either consider doing your Maria Bryan course at another cohort, at a future cohort, or we'll just go 10% off. So anybody who gets signed up with Flame or a premium subscription by the end of October, we will offer you 10% off. So we can send over that information in our follow-up email, how to get started with 10% off. So either of those options are available for you guys. So yeah, that is really the promos that we're doing, and I think that ties it all up.
Yeah, could you drop that link in the chat so people can grab their demo time with you now? And then while we
Yes.
do that, because we do have 3 minutes, we had a couple questions that I thought we could go over. So,
Yes. Great.
let me scroll back up here in the chat and see a couple things here. Okay, question came in from Kirsten. She said, if an organization does not provide scholarships, how would you suggest to tweak the June messaging? We are a summer camp facility for youth with disabilities, so maybe it is reflection of thanks to our funders. Okay, so scholarships,
Mm,
right. So I actually think that she's maybe even answered her own question here, right? Because when we're
yeah.
thinking about scholarships, of course, what we are really kind of talking about for that June messaging is connecting the donors who are directly funding that program and
Right.
connecting them back to the people who are participating in that program. So we have seen a lot of our storytellers do that in different ways without, of course, calling it a scholarship, right? So it's
Right.
you often see people with messaging that say like, because of your donation, this many children got to attend our camp this summer. And maybe along with that is where you get to say, and here's a couple messages from them about the things that they really enjoyed or the best part of their summer because of your funding. So I think maybe you even already answered your own question there.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts
Yeah.
on that, Danielle?
No, I think you guys nailed it. It's just, shining a light on the people and the organizations that make it possible. That's really what it's all about. So, just what does attending camp mean to you or your family? Like, how does that experience help you grow? Sharing a moment that your camp that they'll never forget. I just think getting people the opportunity to reflect on from that perspective, and gratitude for the supporters who like believe in it. That is could be really powerful.
Yeah, and especially if you are offering your summer camp facility, like you're saying your summer camp, right? If we're offering that, if you're able to offer it for free because of certain funding, this is basically a great example of showing scholarship stories in that way, quote unquote scholarship stories. And then looking down here in the chat, Angelique said, I am new to video stories. Do you tag people with company, name, title? What is the etiquette for this? So I'll start. I would say that when you are collecting someone's story, especially if you're collecting it through MemoryFox, you actually have the ability to create custom fields that will make sense for your organization. So if it's important to you and your organization to have the company, the name, their working title, maybe where they're located, maybe what program they're specifically funding, something like that. You can have that all in there for them to answer yourself. And then, of course, when you do collect those stories, you don't necessarily have to use that information externally, but it might be good to have internally. So even collecting that and even collecting all that information in terms of maybe etiquette, in terms of sharing, you might make a policy where you say, oh, I've got all this information in case I need to reach back out to you, but I'm actually only going to
Right.
externally share your first name, for example. So that is kind
Yes.
of
Yeah.
something that you can decide at your organization of what your ethical storytelling standards might be. That's just one example that comes to mind for me.
Yeah. I think you mostly covered it. And it just is very specific to your organization and how you guys want to be organized and how you want to remind yourself. Cause you just kind of think about it backwards, right? It's like, okay, I'm collecting this video, but like, what am I going to use this for? And who's in the video and what information do I need from them to be able to share it appropriately or find it later? So it's just a way to keep yourself organized. But we do actually do audits at MemoryFox. So what we'll do is we'll do a bit of an audit on how your organization is shaped, like who are your storytellers are, what are the touch points that exist for how you can collect stories. And we'll actually help you shape your MemoryFox account in a way that matches those tags.
Right, that's such a good point. We are sharing the campaign ideas right now, but of course there's a lot of other nuances with like how to share it, how to collect and how to collect those stories, like where to get those stories from, and then of course how to share them after you've collected them. But today, of course, this webinar, we're talking about the actual story collection. So I love that. Let's see. Looks like we've got a couple thank yous in the chat, and we also have one more question if we have just one more minute. It came in from Bridget. Bridget said, with planning out this content, do you recommend reaching out to the designated groups a couple months before the start of the month, the way you have content early in the month and encourage others to share their story? So, Bridget, fabulous question. So one thing so we kind of built this into being something that you can do for every single month, right? So the intention might be that you kind of start a new campaign every month if that feels like something that is doable for you at your organization. But you are correct that when you are thinking about sharing that story, you do want to plan backwards and think about the time that it is going to take to collect a story. So, for example, if you are really focused on getting stories in for Giving Tuesday, you want to think, okay, how many weeks do I need to have before that to maybe edit that content to be able to share it for Giving Tuesday? And then, therefore, how many maybe weeks do we need before that to actually collect the content? So, we do find that like about one campaign per month is a reasonable cadence for our storytellers, but you might find that doing more or less might make more sense for you.
Yeah, I think you nailed that answer. So I'll just second that.
Okay, well, with that, Danielle said that I nailed it and that therefore, I know everything. So I
Yes.
think that we have wrapped this up nicely. And thank you all for coming. Please download that playbook. Please book a time with us if you're interested in learning more about creating your custom playbook. This has been a really wonderful chat for me. I think that
Yeah.
like I said, these nonprofits, these missions are very unique and really touch my heart personally. So love that you all took the time to be here today. We really appreciate it. You'll all be getting the recording and our follow-up email later today. So thank you all for coming and enjoy the rest
Yeah.
of your week.
Thank you.